months, yes, we're down to 8.5 months now, the people in this room and the people across America will devote our time, our money, and all of our energy to saving this republic. Because if we are not willing to make those kind of sacrifices, then we will, as Ronald Reagan said, fall into 1,000 years of darkness. Sometimes it feels like we're already there, doesn't it? But we're not. We're not there. And we can't give up, not in the fourth quarter. We are about to witness an American revival that is on the horizon, and we, the people, are going to be leading that revival.
Amen.
You know, when I was 18 years old, just a few years ago, Republican by a man named Ronald. And thanks to a man named Donald, I was inspired to step into the political arena and run for office.
Amen!
He's inspired so many. Ronald and Donald, they may be a little bit different in tone, but Reagan and Trump were both the perfect man for the moment. I remember it vividly. I was just a kid when Jimmy Carter left America in an ash heap, and Ronald Reagan inherited that. But it was his calm optimism and frankly a little bit of humor, we always loved that brought us together as Americans and inspired us and reminded us that we could get through that difficult time if we stuck together. And then nearly 3 decades later, a man with golden hair came down a golden escalator and he gave us another reminder. Donald Trump was exactly the man we needed in 2015, and he's exactly the man we need today.
Amen! Carrie!
Thank you, you guys are too kind. Thank you. You know, I like the bowl in a china shop ideology. I like a strong man.
There, girl.
We got way too many weaklings out there.
I'm with you, Carrie!
Let me hear from the ladies out there. We're tired of the beta men. We want some alpha men. I think we've got some pretty strong men in this room as well. And that's what is going to get us through this difficult time. You know, I don't really care if he pissed off the fake news.
That's right.
I really don't. Those mean tweets brought us world peace.
Right on.
They really did. And let's face it, these people, you know, these people in the fake news, the propagandists, they are people like at the Washington Post. Remember, they're the same propagandists who call terrorists religious scholars.
Right.
And they call parents domestic. So I'll tell you, these guys, you guys back there, you lie about President Trump all the time. You have been on an 8-year mission to destroy the
That's right.
But the good news is, guys, I've got good news for you. Nobody is reading that garbage anymore.
Amen.
Lately, you're hearing about all of these layoffs in the fake news. Hundreds of people. Yeah. Listen, I want low unemployment numbers like we have with President Trump, but I'm okay if we have high unemployment in the fake news. Maybe you guys, once your fake news operation, maybe they can learn the code. Under President Trump, we had a historic economy. We had law and order. We had a secure border, energy independence, world peace. Inflation was not an issue. Record low mortgage rates, record low unemployment. We were safe and secure, and we were prosperous under President Trump. And that safety and security has been destroyed in just a few years. Nothing disturbs me more than knowing that my beautiful state of Arizona is controlled by the narco-terrorist cartels. I don't like knowing that Arizona is the hub for human trafficking, child sex trafficking, and drug trafficking. It's frankly horrific. And I know you all see it, whatever state you're in, you are feeling the effects of this wide open border. But think about this. We sent an army of young boys and girls, or young men and women, off to foreign lands thousands and thousands of miles away under the false pretense that there were weapons of mass destruction. Guess what? We have a weapon of mass destruction right here in our country, and it's called fentanyl. And it's time we fight that. One of the most difficult things that I've experienced in the past few years on the campaign trail has been talking to mothers and fathers who've lost a son or daughter to fentanyl poisoning, or talking to a child whose mother is no longer around because she died after taking a half a pill that was a counterfeit pill. We've got to stop what's happening at our border. We have to do it, and I know there's a man who is bound and determined to do it, and his name is Donald Trump. With me and many others, support saving our homeland. And the only way to do that is to return these people who are invading our country back to their homeland. Anybody who has crossed our border, these foreign armies who have crossed our border, must go back to their homeland. It's going to be the largest repatriation. I will be the fighter for the people of Arizona, a fighter who will secure the border, stand up to Washington, D.C. corruption, cut taxes, confirm conservative Supreme Court justices, and end Chuck Schumer's reign. Ohio are still living in a chemical wasteland.
That's right.
And Americans in Hawaii are still surrounded by ashes. Imagine if we would have used the money we've been pouring into Ukraine, into that black hole. We need honest people to run for office, and you all know that I can't be bought.
Amen!
I walked away from the 7th stage, and I told you that somebody had come to my house, come to my door, and tried to bribe me to stay out of politics. He said he was representing some very powerful people back east. Did you all hear about that? They wanted me a military-industrial complex as very powerful people. You know what? I think it's about damn time that the people of this country, the American people, have some powerful people back east working Army more. Donald J. Trump and Senator Kari Lake.
Amen!
Guys, I want to first tell you the America First movement, though, is truly the biggest movement. I don't need to tell you on board. Are you willing to welcome independents? Yes, we are, aren't we? Are you willing to welcome disaffected Democrats who don't recognize their party? And they're tired of this slide into Marxism. Are you willing to welcome them into the America First movement? Yes, we are. Then for goodness sakes, we've got to heal some of the rifts in our own party. Lincoln said a house divided cannot stand. The media wants us divided. The left wants us divided. We don't care if you woke up 20 years ago, 20 months ago, 20 days ago, or if you finally woke up 20 minutes ago. We welcome you into the America First movement with open arms. You just don't know it. I do want to leave you with this, because I know that sometimes it gets scary, what we're dealing with. We're human. But God is with us. And he's so moving mountains for us right now. I want you to know that God does not make mistakes. I think he put me here for this moment. I know he put you here for this moment. He put all of us here at this moment. Just like our founding fathers back in 1776. We were born for this moment. You may not think you can make a big difference and help President Trump. If you're in Arizona or anywhere around the country, help me. You can go to my website, karilake.com, and find out how. We all have a role to play in this fight. We've got 8.5 months to save America, and I know we are going to do it. I know it. And
Cancel abortion! Cancel
and just think, this time next year at Cpac 2025, we are going to have a lot more to celebrate. It's going to be a huge celebration. I'm ready to make America great again. Are you? And I love each and every one of you. Let's go.
We can hardly keep a signal, you guys.
You know, it feels like I'm the only one here not running for vice president. But frankly, got to begin with some bad news. It's too late. The 2024 election has already been compromised by the Biden Democratic Party's unprecedented, disbarred, and prosecuted for exercising their God-given First Amendment and other rights to dispute an election.
That's right!
You know, insurrection in itself.
Yes!
If those abusers want to play the insurrectionist game, then virtually the entire voter fraud undermines voter confidence, and it's illegal. We're suing two states, Mississippi and Illinois, in the last year or so. That is huge. LA County confirms.
Do it!
Here's a key reason why. Their mere presence will ensure, again, the formula for free and fair elections is simple, right? Number one is free Trump. Again, and let's complete the count on Election Day. Not having final results on Election Day 2024 with police. And I've watched those videos. I can't believe he just shot her dead like that. I just can't believe it. And few in this corrupt city give a rat's tail. And that's why I'm so pleased Judicial Watch just filed a $30 billion wrongful death lawsuit.
That's right!
30 more years to get justice for Ashley. That will be time well spent. And hey, where the heck are all the January 6th videos?
That's right! Release the videos!
And we're being stonewalled by Republicans in Congress.
That's right!
And the Biden Justice Department. We're in banana republic territory now. The Biden administration, with its unprecedented and political prosecutions of Trump, is now officially a regime.
Huh. Thank you,
Now,
Gloria.
I've seen it up close. I've seen it up close. Not too long ago, I had significant skin cancer. The FBI notice of an Amazon package. I ended up being hassled and abused by the special counsel team for 4 hours over Trump documents, my First Amendment rights, and what I had for lunch. But I knew why they brought me before that grand jury. It was payback and intimidation for daring to defend Trump against their abuse of power.
That's right.
But we weren't intimidated by the prosecutorial abuse. In fact, Judicial Watch sued and is in federal court now for the names of the top staff of Jack Smith's team. We want to know just... Are Jack Smith's team members biased or conflicted? Or are they unbiased, nonpartisan professionals? Well, they're hiding the names, so I think we all know what the answer to that is. And our elderly, well-meaning, with a failing memory since he was vice president. Cocaine in the White House is the least of his problems. And did you see how Judicial Watch uncovered how Biden's dog bit dozens of Secret Service and White House personnel? What sort of crazy dog owner would allow his pet to bite and viciously attack repeatedly the men and women protecting his life? Right. Of course, there's also serious evidence of criminal activity. But to accept the Hur report means Garland agrees Biden is unfit for the presidency.
That's right!
Now we have any House Republican will keep on funding the border invasion.
That's right.
The Trump, the censorship of Americans, the killing of the unborn, the transgender extremist abuse of our children, and the praise critical race theory. The good news is Judicial Watch remains powerful because of the rule of law. That's why the left wants to destroy us. FOIA law allows us to investigate everything. The founders would be proud, I'd like to think. John Adams said, liberty cannot be preserved. Conduct of our rulers. We've seen things from Hillary's emails to the FBI spying on the church. Frankly, we can't sue enough. And if you have FOIA ideas or need FOIA, American way. So get up, stand up for freedom, stand up against the extremist left, stand up for our borders and our sovereignty. We have no choice but to win. You must all be heroes for the Republic. God bless you, and God bless America.
Moms, reclaiming our culture, the truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Growing movements of women in the country.
A dangerous place. All nature is a beautiful affair.
When we return, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
We're from the
I know.
government. We're here to help.
Of all of it, during President Biden's first month in office, American oil production fell, meaning 57% from its previous high.
We're gonna do our.
Because in 2024, energy is on the ballot.
I'm just gonna walk to the back of the aisle.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's so great to be back here. So again, how much was it better 4 years ago? Yeah! Okay, well, a lot of folks in the mainstream media, probably back over there, that 2.6 billion people are working today, or there are more people working today than right before the pandemic. But if you look at the numbers, the economy doing not so good, if the numbers are so good, is that the numbers are jacked up by illegal immigrants getting your jobs. But the second GDP last year. And if you wonder, well, is that what Bidenomics is? If you look at the next 10 years, they say that debt is going to grow faster. Hey, he's a legendary investor, incredibly successful, a huge amount to lose in this world where they're going after everybody who supports $0.2 million in one night. And so now I'm handing it to Scott. So Scott, why are you doing this?
We're in Main Street, or in Wall Street, Manhattan. It's the city. And the purpose of my article today, and I hope all of you will have a look at it, I wanted to be very gracious.
Is that you see big things coming, big changes coming. Sometimes it's a country that's fallen apart and you realize you want to, like maybe you want to short their debt or whatever. But when you think something bad could happen again in 2025, but I will tell you that my successes have been analyzing where I think the consensus and the crowd is wrong, and Trump 2.0 will be chaotic, that it will be bad for the economy and bad for the market, is wrong. Yeah. I sent a letter out to my investors 3 weeks ago saying that we are in the midst of the Trump stock market rally and that it is being driven by Donald Trump being ahead of the polls and investors anchoring on the market-friendly things that are going to happen on January 20th, 2025 if he wins. They are anchoring on the Trump tax cuts being extended. And I want to give a shout out to Kevin here. Donald, and there's a group of great Americans, whether it's the Governor Youngkin in Virginia next door, whether it's J.D. Vance, who were in there the whole time. And everybody thank him for his service and hope that he's hold on to serve again. I just want to say that I had this really fun conversation with Neil Cavuto on Fox the other day. And I got to just say that I have so many stories about how much fun it was to work with this guy and how generous he was at one point, one of my staffers got cancer. And the president was sending him notes and asking about how the person's doing. And so when people say, well, why would anyone go back in? The reason is just this, that he does say you're fired to people, right? But that's what businessmen do. They hire people, and if they don't do the job well, then they get rid of them and they bring somebody else. And I asked Neil, I said, and I asked you, can you think of one person that President Biden has fired? And so is he paying attention? Or did he just hire the most perfect set of people in the history of the U.S. government? But this with like all the difficulties and everything, and that I'm sure that they would go back. And I know see like a huge lineup of people like you, Scott, who are stepping in and saying, you know, the future of our country is at stake, and so we got to do something about it.
We do have to do something, and I'll come back to my list on who I think President Biden should fire, or more importantly, the American people should fire on November 5th. But, you know, I will tell you is obviously Bidenomics is a disaster. But I actually think, you know, no one likes that term, and even Biden's trying to run for it. Bidenomics is a play on Reaganomics, and that was a supply-side solution that changed America in the 1980s. After the Carter malaise, President Reagan came in and unleashed the American economy. Joe Biden is doing the opposite. He is shackling the American economy with debt. I call it, wait for it, Bidenism. It is Bidenism. It has ruined Argentina. Peronism. Bidenism is the beginning of Peronism. It is the state taking over the means of production. It is putting on so much debt that it can never be rolled back. We're hear from Steve Moore, one of the great supply-siders, Kevin.
You know, so you wrote this piece that had all these charts in it, so I really loved it. I love charts. And it showed that the market's been going up in response to the polls. And I wonder if you could go into the details about these people, because the polls,
market's up 3. Why is that? Again, market is anchoring on Donald Trump can expect. On the other side, since 1952, when there's an incumbent running, the market is always up and is getting desperate. So you should expect between now and Election Day, there's going to be a lot of financial shenanigans, but I think we're in the
1,000 points, the Dow. And that night I was like riding home and I got a call from the president from Air Force One, and he said, data say, or what the truth is. And so we heard forever and ever that income inequality was like the most important thing. And then after the tax cuts passed, I redistributed income. Because
I know,
that,
right?
then you basically sustain the evil capitalist institutions. That the job of the left is to destroy
I finally had a
all
steady
of
signal.
our institutions. And so do you think that that's actually a rational plan that's going on with these people? Or do you think they
maximalist point of no return? And
like I said,
think that they're trying to do it in the 4 years, and if they get 8 years, we really will be on such high interest rate that we can't afford to update our weaponry. 2 is a green investment bank. Just yesterday, the CDO came out and said that there is going to be, that it is, you open the border, you let in I don't know whether it's 8, 12, the president says there are 18 million.
Maybe he is coming in there.
Came out of like small town South Carolina that started his legendary investment career at the beginning, and please don't.
I can't comment, I can't speak to Mr. Soros' motivation. Is what I can tell you, he's one of the world's greatest investors. He was the only candidate I have supported as President Trump. And then he became the ultimate free marketeer. Having been inside the machine and knowing how they think and what their moves are. Just so everyone knows, Mr. Soros and I have not spoken. They had sent a month in, almost started crying, and said, oh, Hillary Clinton has no path to the presidency. The market crashed, and I thought, this is the greatest opportunity.
Markets of the economy this year that people should watch out for. And then one of the things you mentioned is the Treasury. And I'd like you to watch.
Journal, I called Janet Yellen one of our great public servants. One of our great public servants. In the spring of 20, and she responded. What did she do after that? In 2022, she ran down the strategic patrol emergency. What Kevin's alluding to, and all of you can monitor this at home, I was on the war room a couple weeks ago, and when Donald Trump left office, that cash cushion was $1.5 trillion. Secretary Mnuchin knew that we were high because the Biden administration, she and the others are spending money. That is only about 1 month of outlay, our risk management jobs. Why did we get the great inflation of 2021 and 2022? The Federal Reserve failed with 3.7% unemployment. Why are we running these deficits if the economy is so good? You know, if I had, does anyone here feel like they've got their money's worth?
I want to restate that for everybody, that since President Biden's taken office, your debt, your share of the debt has gone up by $44,000.
Exactly.
So you owe $44,000 more in future taxes because of all of these policies.
These favorite economists, Americans don't understand how aren't you more grateful? Well, I say a term called equivalent, and it means that if any of us overspend on our credit card, we know the bill's coming due. Everybody in this room, 330 million Americans, intrinsically know that the government has run up their credit card. They are running up the credit card every day, and we know that there's a storm on the horizon, so we're saving. We are saving for the rainy day. So the more they spend, the more we know we have to save. So that's why nobody's happy with this economy. And then the other thing too is that, as Kevin said, in terms of income inequality, under President Trump, your record real income gains, under President Biden, it's negative. And it's negative on the items. It's much more negative on the items we have to buy every day. Much more negative on housing, much more negative on insurance, much more negative on food. So when the PhDs from the New York Times are saying that Americans don't understand, I'd say we do understand.
Yeah, I think they do. And in fact, let's go to the most important topic as we close. So how many people in this audience think that inflation is under control? But you're being told inflation is under control, and the Fed is signaling that it's going to subside. Are they going to jack the economy up to try to get President Biden elected?
You know, Kevin, I used to think that the Fed had an intrinsic bias, and then Jerome Powell went on 60 Minutes 2 weeks ago, and I thought it was one of the most political interviews I've ever seen. And you know it's a political interview when he says the Fed isn't political.
Yeah,
we're not political. And Scott Pelley, who was interviewing him, said, well, wasn't there a lot of debt issues? And all he talked about was the one bipartisan spending bill, none of the Biden debt.
So Scott, there's a much more important person than us about ready to come out now. And so I would like to thank you guys so much for